Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. All right, we're talking about Social Security income today. Basically, is Social Security income taxable? And the answer is a definite maybe. So there are certain situations. Now, this is not to be confused with SSDI disability, Social Security disability, because that is a whole separate ball of wax. So we're just talking about SSI today. SSDI can get really complicated because that entails medical benefits and all of that. That's a class, not a live broadcast, y'all. Okay. So with Social Security income, there are instances where it is taxable. So first of all, if your Social Security is the only income you receive, then it is not taxable. However, if you have other income, up to 85% of your Social Security income can be taxable. Now, you have the option to have taxes taken out of your Social Security, completely up to you. But just know it depends on what type of other income you receive. So let me talk about other income for a minute before I get into all the different details. So other income comes in many forms. It can be whether you own a side business, whether you work a part-time job or something like that. But it also can be a distribution from your retirement account. And, really talking about this subject brings back like bad memories of a client that I had to deal with. And it was a heartbreaking moment for me as a professional. And the situation is there was a lady, she was in charge of her dad's finances because her dad was in his 90s. He was in a nursing home and she needed money to cover some of those expenses as well as, his living expenses and all of that. So she took a distribution from his retirement account. And unfortunately, she took out enough to where 85% of his Social Security was then taxable. And so she unknowingly created a tax bill because nobody told her. And the thing about it is when you are taking distributions from your retirement account, they're not taking into consideration any other part of your finances. They leave that up to you. So before you go and take money out of your retirement account, whether it's for you or you happen to be in charge of finances, being a caretaker for an elderly person, you really need to talk to a tax person before you do that to understand the impact of what happened. Because when I had to sit down and tell this lady that she created an $8,000 tax bill for her 90-year-old father, I mean, that was the most gut-wrenching, heartbreaking conversation I had had to date. And, at first she thought that it was something that I had done, but, it took several people to explain to her that it's the Social Security that was taxable and it's not that she received a penalty because her father was of age, but it's because of that additional income that made all of his Social Security taxable, and that he now had a tax bill. But so it's not just working income, it's also pension income that impacts your Social Security. So it really is something for you to think about. If you're receiving, different types of income, then you may want to have taxes taken out of your Social Security just so you don't create the tax bill. Okay. So let's talk about the limits. All right, I got my notes here because it's a lot of different types of situations to where your Social Security can be taxable. All right, so for individuals with income of less than $25,000, then you're okay. Your Social Security is not taxable. Now, from $25,000 to $34,000, you are required to pay taxes on up to 50% of your Social Security benefits. For people who for individuals with income exceeding $34,000, then you're required to pay taxes on up to 85% of your Social Security income. That ain't a lot of money, y'all. Okay. For married couples, filing jointly for income below $2,000, for income below $32,000, then there are no taxes on your Social Security. $32,000 to $44,000, you're required to pay income taxes on up to 50% of your Social Security benefits. And for married couples filing joint for income over $44,000, then you have to pay taxes on up to 85% of your Social Security income. Now, if you're married filing separate and you're living together and filing separate, then your Social Security is going to be taxable. Okay, this is why I keep telling y'all married filing separate is the worst filing status that there is, okay, because you lose out on a lot of benefits. So that is the stipulation for Social Security income being taxed. Now, that's at the federal level. There are also states that also tax your Social Security. And those states are Colorado, Connecticut, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, and West Virginia, as of what I know today. Those are the 13 states that tax your Social Security. So, when it comes down to Social Security and you're talking about, generating other income, plan to pay taxes, right? That's what I would tell you, because and this is why you hear people saying, okay, I can only make so much money, because then they're going to be hit with the tax bill. And, for me, you need to just plan for the tax bill, because why continue to limit yourself over some taxes? If you plan to pay those taxes, if you have taxes taken out of your Social Security, or you set aside funds to pay your taxes, I'd much rather see you go boss out and plan to just write the check to the government than to sit there and live on peanuts just so that you don't have to pay taxes. No. Because this is why, people are struggling now, because, okay, on the one hand, if I go and make too much money, I'm going to have this tax bill. So if I don't make that money, I don't have a tax bill, but yet you're struggling to eat. It completely is a double-edged sword. And you'll get to that point where, it's kind of like that breaking point where you're not making enough, you're not necessarily bossing out, but you're making enough to where you're creating a tax bill. So, it can get kind of funky in there. I totally get that. But, when I look at people who are intentionally, playing small because they don't want to write a check to the government, it's time, to really do some planning, because it's in that planning process and you can make a plan for the possible tax bill. If you, plan for 85% of your Social Security to be taxed, then, what does that look like for you? This is why you sit down with a tax person to do the math for you, to help you understand what you can make, what the tax bill is going to look like for you, so that you can then plan for that instead of waiting until tax time and getting caught with the surprise. We don't like surprises at tax time. Nobody likes surprises at tax time. But if you do the work and do the math and plan before tax time, then it won't be such a blow, because you plan for that, you set aside money for that, and then you can just pay this tax bill and keep it moving, you guys. Okay? So yeah, that's the deal on Social Security. So, if you are, I know lots of people who are of Social Security age, who are, who still have, side businesses or starting side businesses from home, just, really for something to do, for activity, because they don't want to just sit there and play golf all day, so, and which I think is great, right? But in the same time, it's not without consequence. That's what I'm saying. It is not without consequence that, you're really trying to, get your whole entire life. The consequences, you're going to have to write a check to the government. So I would say to, like I said, to plan for that throughout the year, so that at tax time, you're ready. It's really is that simple. But a lot of times what we don't do is plan, and we don't plan because we don't know. Like I said, especially when it comes down to taking retirement distributions, that counts against you as well. So make sure that when you're taking a retirement distribution, that you talk to a tax person first to completely understand the impact of how it's going to affect your other income. Because that is not what the retirement folks, if you call and say, I want my money, they're just going to give you your money. They're not telling you, they're going to tell you, if you're younger than 59 and a half, they're going to tell you about that 10% penalty, but they're not going to tell you, okay, hey, if you've got other income, this might put you in another tax bracket. It's going to increase your income tax. And, that includes this 10% penalty. They're not going to tell you all that stuff. They're just going to give you your money. And then you find out come tax time. And by that time, it's too late. Okay. So that's the scoop on Social Security income, you guys. And, when you think about it, like I said, for a married filing joint couple, over $44,000 a year, you got to pay taxes on 85%. $44,000 a year, y'all. Hold on a minute. What's that? $2,000 a month? I gotta do the math on that, because y'all know my brain that ain't how I work. It's too early. So, okay. Wait a minute, 44,000 divided by 12. I'm slow, y'all. So $3,600 a month. All right. For two people to live on. You think about that. It's really not a lot of money. So that's why I say just plan on paying taxes on your Social Security so you can go make money and boss out. But you won't pay taxes on more than 85% though. That's the thing. So plan on that 85%. Be ready to write that check and then go get the rest of your money. Okay. So that's it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9:00-ish, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.